When you have your first aid kit, it should be easily accessible and it should be full of useful stuff for treating bleeds and cuts and bruises and sprains and strains and that sort of thing. Please don't store medication in a first aid kit. Medication should be out of reach of children, so that should be kept in a separate place from your first aid kit. Your first aid kit is accessible and grabbable for when you need it. It should be portable, so depending what you do, you might need a bigger one than this, but actually this is a really good quality family first aid kit that will suit most needs. It also complies with the Health and Safety Executive, in fact it exceeds the requirements of the Health and Safety Executive for their first aid at work. So various things you should have in there. You should have them in fairly neat pockets. Pair of scissors to be able to cut off clothes, get to the wound, cut dressings, and sort things out like that. A face shield if you're giving CPR to protect yourself. Some wound cleansing wipes. Importantly, you have some gloves in here. So you should have a pair of gloves that you put on if you're dealing with bleeding, or indeed if you're dealing with burns. There should be a variety of quality dressings, so different sizes to suit the different sized wounds or the different sized members of your family that you are treating. In with that, there are useful things like a finger dressing. Fingers are really difficult to dress unless you have a small enough bandage. Triangular bandages, really useful. They are great at making improvised tourniquets, doing head bandages, slings, just doing a quick, neat bandage on your knee, tie it round and stop that bleeding quickly, and just a bit of non-fluffy, sterile cloth that you can grab to stop any form of bleed that is happening, to apply pressure. You should have some sort of bandages in order to provide some comfortable support if someone has a sprain or strain. And again, these come in different sizes and they can be very useful for holding dressings in place if you haven't used the tie-on dressings, and just having some extra bits of kit to improvise with. Plasters. Plasters are useful as patch-ups if you have a very small cut or something, but actually I'm not a great lover of plasters. If you do use them, make sure they don't get soggy, and make sure you're removing them as well, putting a fresh dressing on, so that the wound doesn't get soggy, because wounds get soggy and sweaty with plasters. Things like your dressing pads, they are great breathable dressings that you can use to cover a wound once it's been cleaned. And in here as well, you've got a foil blanket to protect yourself from the elements and retain your body heat if you are injured. And on this side, so there's a lot in here, a lot in a small pack. You've got various ice packs which are really useful for treating bruises and reducing swelling. So they've got big ones and there's smaller ones as well. So you activate them and then they will be instantly cold. So those are really helpful for taking down bruising and reducing swelling. You should wrap them, so wrap them in your triangular bandage if you're using these. There's also a couple of vials of saline, really useful for irrigating a wound, or if there's something in your eye, irrigating that out, so bits of sand or dust or something, essential to have as a portable bit of saline when you're out and about. Keep this in your home, have another one in your car, and stay safe and make sure you know how to use these contents.